It's the voice of the one and only DJ Scream, letting you know that you are now in tune to the Casual Flex, where culture meets sports and casuals are welcome. Now here's your host, Phillip Dukes.
Yo, welcome to the Casual Flex. I am your host, Phillip Dukes, aka Dukes D Scoop. Catch me on Instagram and Twitter at Dukes D Scoop. And while you're at it, make sure you go right down there and hit that like and subscribe button. But today, I want to make sure that everybody knows that this episode is being sponsored by Slippers Count. Stay dangerous for sure. Shout out to Donace. Follow him on Instagram at @1Donace. Somebody being held in a penitentiary with no evidence, but at the end of the day, you know what it is. But man, shout out to him, man. But without further ado, I got my dog, Columbus finest, Auburn's finest, Philadelphia Eagles finest, Arizona Cardinals finest, Roderick Hood. What's going on, Hood?
Man, bless, brother. What's good?
Oh, not much, man. You know, I got to play it up a little bit for the podcast, but without further ado, you are one of the most like first of all, one of the fastest guys that I've ever seen. Another thing is somebody who had an underdog story and won, like a real movie script of a story. So before we get into it, let's just talk about when you got to Auburn. You were a walk-on. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
You were a walk-on. What inspired you to keep going further, knowing that, you know what, they like some of these guys better than me because they gave them a scholarship?
Yeah.
If you had that in the back of your head, what inspired you to go further and work as hard as you did?
Well, dudes, man. First off, bro, I appreciate the love, man, and the thing about me was it was that underdog mentality. You know, hey, I'm not 6 foot. And when I played high school ball, I really didn't play a lot because my junior, senior year, I had injuries. I broke my ankle my junior year, broke my shoulder my senior year, so I really didn't play that much. And even though when I was out there, I made things happen, I made plays, people didn't think that I could be able to have the longevity in college based off of my injuries.
Right.
And so, you know, my thing was Auburn was one of the schools that said, look, we don't allow you to come in as a preferred walk-on, which just simply means that we're going to allow you to come in, you know, when the scholarship guys come in. And I was just like, man, look, if I can get an opportunity, I know I can show what I can do. Right. And, man, I just, continue to keep the faith, man, continue to pray. And then, you know, when you have a family, my dad, my brother, who would support my mom, dad, they was just like, look, we know you can go out there and do it. And they backed me. So I was just ready to roll from there, bro. I was like, look, man, everybody put their pants on, I put mine on. So, now it's just we got to go get it now. Hey, the best man went out, and I'm going to give you my all.
Right. Now, you know what? And the saying now is line it up. You better than me, line it up then. Line it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I always saw about you was how fast you were. Did you run any track?
Man, I didn't. I ran track my senior year because I was trying to get more looks in college. But I played basketball and played baseball, you know, throughout my growing up. So really, I didn't care for track at all, to be honest. But I just knew they was your size, and they always wonder how fast I was. So I went out there and my senior year, and I went to the state. I went to the state in the 100. But I wasn't a guy who was I wasn't a track guy. I was just a football guy that had speed.
Right.
And so, man, it was just look, I always just pride on myself on saying look, if I'm the fastest man in the stadium, that's all where I always believe that. And I always try to pride myself on that. And so, you know, because when you're small, man, you got to be able to run. You got to be able to separate yourself.
Right.
And so, you know, when you have speed, man, it makes up for a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times, I talk to some of the younger guys that are fast, and I tell them, play fast. And when I say that, I mean, as long as you play fast, sometimes you can erase some of those mental mistakes that you made. You can erase some of that if you get there faster.
Definitely.
Having speed is a real gift. But in your case, it allows you to play offense and defense. So when I say offense, I consider special teams to be offense if you can return the kick, right? So based on when you were on offense versus defense, what was the biggest difference in mentality versus the two?
Well, I think it kind of it kind of go hand in hand. Like for me, special teams was like, look, I'm trying to put my team in a position to score or score myself. And then it was like defensively, hey, I try to take the mentality of Dion, who was like the trendsetter. Like, look, you throwing that ball my way, I'm gonna create a turnover and take it for 6. So it was just that kind of mentality. But it was like always being offensive, even on the defensive end. So, and that's why I tell young guys all the day, like the guys who I train or the guys I coach, my nephew, I try to tell them, like, look, man, even though you're playing defense, you can't have a reactive defensive mentality. You got to have an offensive mentality. Like, look, they throw this ball my way, I'm gonna make them pay for it. I'm turning the ball over. I'm making turnovers. I'm dang on, you know what I'm saying, making them score when they throw it my way because I'm gonna score. So I just try to. It's almost like the paradigm shift. You got to give them a different mentality. And when you playing from that end instead of playing not to get beat, because that's a lot of guys. When they play defensive back, it's like, hey, I don't want to get beat deep. I don't want to. Then that kind of makes you, passive. Right. But you want to be aggressive, man. You want to attack the ball, and you want to be able to say, look, if you throw this ball my way, I'm gonna make you pay. So I just try to kind of get that mentality.
Yeah, that's dope. And I think one thing about it is I think a lot of people don't realize, man, I think you scored, 4 times in the NFL as a DB? 4? How many
something like that. Yeah, like
4 or 5, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But from that point, when it comes to Roderick Hood, the man, what gave you the integrity to be one of the guys that stayed out the way? Like, you made a lot of money in the league, but you were always one of the guys that was heard about as one of the better men in the league, as far as somebody you want to mentor, somebody that you want your guy to be mentored by. Like, as far as when you were able to get all the success and the money and the fame, like, what kept you being that guy who was just 100?
Well, man, to be honest, man, I knew that didn't make me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my dad was always used to tell me, like, look, man, your word is your bond. And you try to help people, you try to be there for people. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know your situation will change. And for me, it was like I wanted to be able to provide for my family. I wanted to be able to get them something different to be able to see and put us on a different level. And sometimes money can do that. And so for me, man, it was just like, hey, I'm gonna help as many people as I can because I've had a lot of help along the way. Like guys like Brenson Buckner, who just kind of mentored me into the NFL game. Because it's a big difference between college and the NFL.
Right.
And to be able to make that transition easy and be able to sustain myself there, a lot of guys gave me a lot of love and showed me a lot. And I just wanted to kind of give back like other people giving to me. So it was kind of easy, man. It's like, look, I just feel like you're a good person at heart, man. You want to see people win. Like, you give it back to these young brothers, man, and teaching them, like, look, man, on your Saturday nights, you ain't got to be out there in them streets. Hey, man, let's go to this game, man. You got an opportunity to get out the hood. Right. And, man, people don't understand your value, man, because how you able to give to these young guys and get them thinking of something totally different in the street.
Right. Nah, man, you know what? And I think sometimes our culture can be a detriment to us based on the fact of what we feel like we value. And to reintroduce value from somebody at a point where you're being a mentor or looked up to is so important. Like the guys that I grew up in the streets with, like when I say in the streets, I mean like the guys from my neighborhood who had the money, had the cars, whatever. A lot of them went to prison, and I was just lucky enough to be the guy that they were like, you know what? Hey, Duke special. Like we love Duke. Hey, man, Duke cool. Boy, go to school. Hey, man, and having that was so like important to me growing up to the point where it's like I give that back to these kids. Now, if you see me, especially in Auburn, you're gonna see I'm gonna have like 6 to 7, 8 kids that are from my hood, like you know what I mean? And they all like, hey, Duke, what we doing? I'm telling them, I'm like, hey, bro, look, I did this before. This is a place where you can grow. And for you to say that, man, like as far as being a mentor, it means a lot to me because it allows me to see that I'm seen, and I appreciate that.
Real talk.
So
man.
let's change gears. Cadillac Williams is the head coach of Auburn University as it stands.
Wow.
Lack is the coach, right?
Yeah, Lack.
Lack. So when you found out Lack was the coach, what was your first reaction?
I was like, wow. I was super happy for him, man. We was teammates at Auburn. We played, I think, 2 or 3 years together. We was I was on that recruiting class to try to get him at Auburn. So when he was coming out of Etowah, like, it was crazy. And then even to play with him our last 2 years, our last year at St. Louis, my last year at St. Louis with the Rams, we played together. And then we graduated. We graduated together. Right? We went back and got our degrees, man. We sit up in the same class together. So, man, for me, man, it hits a little different to see Lack with the success that he's having, man, and being promoted to be the interim head coach, man. And I'm just so happy for him, man. I'm willing to do whatever I can to try to get him to stay up there, man, and keep doing it. Proud of him.
No, hey, man, and you know what? The energy that Lack brought the team last week, right?
Yeah.
Like, we saw a team sleepwalking through games, right?
No question.
And it's funny for guys like me and you played with him, and I know him really well. Like, to see Lack, and like, so if there were situations where the average coach would have been like, "No, don't go for it," and Lack was like, "Now we might go," but they don't realize that that's his personality. Like, he feels like, and it's contagious, because even at the beginning of the game when it was 24-3, he still felt like we gonna go.
Yep.
And guess what? They ended up going. They went. They followed him.
That's it.
So, with that being said, can you tell me about a time where Cadillac stepped up, even when he was young, because you were older than him, like maybe by a year, right?
Yep. I think about a year.
Two at the most. Like,
maybe 2, yeah.
But when he was the guy who was getting handed the ball 30, 40 times, a time where where Cadillac stepped up and said, "Hey, we finna get this." Is there any time that you could think about when Cadillac showed himself as a leader?
Man, Cadillac, to be honest, when he stepped on the field, man, just how he handled himself. It was running back you up there, man. We had Rudy Johnson, man. We had, guys that we had Heath Evans, you had Rusty Williams. Man, you had guys, man, that Ronnie Brown was the back there. You had Cassinius Moore. You had some great backs. Yeah, man, you had some great backs come through there, man. And Lack was the guy who was Mr. Alabama coming in, but he had a lot of backs in front of him. And he was a freshman, But man, he just kept working, man, and he kept, he just was hungry. You could just tell how much he wanted to be the guy. And he worked like that. Like in practice, man, he was all out. And so when they go crazy, Lack, like, man, he was crazy like that in practice. Like, he gave 100% in practice. And then, when he got the handoff, man, it was like, hey, he was running just like it was game day. Right. So when he got in the game, it wasn't like, wow, we didn't know Lack could do that, because we seen it. And so I think I remember one game when we was playing against Georgia down in Georgia, I think. He rushed for like 200 and some yards, man. Right. It was just like we gave him the ball like 40 sometimes. Right. And it was just like he wouldn't be denied. And everybody knew he was getting the ball. Everybody in the stadium knew he was getting the ball. And it was just like, look, man, hey, I'm gonna get 5 yards a pop. And it was like, now I'm gonna take it to the house. And even though the greatest thing was to see how when he got hurt, and then he came back off his injury, and Ronnie Brown was the guy too. Right. And the love they had for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's huge. That lets you know what type of person he is, what type of teammate he is. Because Ronnie B was shining. Like, Ronnie B, that guy. And both of them were that guy. And Lack was hurt, but when he came back, man, he shared the position gracefully. Right. And them boys became really close. And that's why I had a major respect for Lack, man, and still do to this day.
Nah, man, leading by example sometimes is, I'd rather have a guy that can show me what to do rather than tell me, because at least I know if we get in the field, I know, like, if it's me and you're going to know what to do. But a lot of times when people talk about it, they can't show you. All right, from that standpoint, you played with the Philadelphia Eagles. And if I'm not mistaken, was Brian Dawkins not the safety behind you?
Yeah, B-Dog, Michael Lewis, yep.
So Brian Dawkins is a guy that a lot of people have a real affinity for. What was the most important lesson that Brian Dawkins taught you?
I think the most important thing was his faith, man, in God and Christ. Like this dude, heavy in the word. Every Wednesday we was going to Bible study. Like he was, like man, he was just heavy in the word, heavy in his faith, and he knew he played. It was big in the football for him. Like it was just like he put his family on his back, man. And he knew when he stepped out on that field, it wasn't about just playing the game. It was about glorifying God out there because of the talent that he had given. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he always say. Like, look, hey Hood, we finna go out here and glorify him today. We finna go out here and praise him. And that's how he approached it. He was like, look, when I step between these lines, the gift that God has given me, I'm not finna just sit on it. Like, bro, I'm finna go out here and glorify him. And so that's why he played so hard. And that's why he played so intense. And that's the biggest thing I took from him, man. Like Hall of Fame guy, but bro, when he got on that field, he didn't play. He didn't allow you to be loafing to the ball. He didn't allow you to not play hard. Because he used to always check people like, look, bro, if you come out on this field, you with me, dog, we got a certain type of intensity, a certain type of mentality that we're going to have.
Now, you know what? That's crazy because, like even sometimes, like, even when I got some of my young kids with me, I'm like, hey, bro, like, if you with me, we walk a certain kind of way. Like, we do a certain type of thing.
Facts.
We not doing none of that. Like, because, bro, if somebody sees you doing that, they going to think I'm doing that because you with me.
Facts.
And to hear that makes me feel like, hey, man, like, Doak is really the type of guy I thought he was. Because you can see it, but you don't never know. Like, and, you know, I always say this, and somebody told me this a long time ago, is you should never meet your heroes. Like, because they might be a little bit different than what you think they are.
Yeah.
But to hear you say that, it makes me feel like, yeah, Doak like that for real. Okay, I got another question for you. The Eagles are balling.
Yeah.
The Eagles balling.
Yeah.
And they got A.J. Brown. And when I see A.J. Brown, I see a little bit of T.O.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play with T.O.?
Yeah, man. That's my guy, man. Yeah, definitely. He's sharper than me, man. Ain't gonna lie. Practice, man, we used to get at it.
Give me one good T.O. story, you versus T.O.
Man, T.O., first of all, when we got there, T.O. came from 49ers, and we didn't know if we was gonna get it. You know, T.O. was the best receiver in the league at the time. Him and Randy Moss was 1 and 2, right? One A, 1B. You know, it was just back and forth.
Right.
So we didn't know if we was gonna get him. So when we got him, man, he instantly changed the whole city. I mean, the city just went T.O. Like, because Eagles is a big football city anyway, and they just big on their football. So we got T.O. It was like, we're going to the Super Bowl. And T.O. was like, man, look, yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. It wasn't like modest. It was like, yeah, I got me a quarterback now. We finna go to the Super Bowl. And he just was that guy, man. Like, T.O., bro, I got 50 million stories to tell you about. T.O. was just that guy, bro. Like, I'm telling you, dude, like, man, he was the ultimate teammate, bro. Like, people, I mean, I don't know how the media portrayed him, man, but he was a great dude. Now, he didn't take no BS. Like, what he thought about you, he'll tell you. Right. And I can respect that. Man to man, it's like, look, he was friends with everybody. He was cool with everybody. But if you rub him the wrong way, he gonna let you know.
I gotta let you know.
Yeah, man. And that's where I'm from. Like, man, look, we don't hide behind what we say. It's like, look, if I believe a certain way, I'm gonna tell you. And that's how he was. And that's how he is. So, but yeah, man, I think one time, man, he got hurt. And I think it was right before the playoffs. And everybody didn't think T.O. was coming back because he had broke his ankle.
Right.
And everybody's like, man, you know, hey, you know, we don't know if we're gonna get to the playoffs. So we were in the playoffs, but when we get to the Super Bowl, he was like, Hood. He was like, bro, he said, I'll be back. And he said, I'm gonna give them everything they want.
Ooh.
I mean, this dude couldn't even I'm looking at him, man, a week before the game, bro. He barely walking. Like, bro, he limping, bro, like barely walking, like in a boot. Next thing I know, man, he don't practice none that week. Go out like the day before the game, man, and start running routes and go up and put 120. 120, dude. I'm like, man, what? Bro, he running out there like ain't nothing. And bro, he still the ankle still wasn't healed.
A freak.
Man, he's a dog, man.
Real live freak. Man, you know what's crazy? I be seeing T.O. sometimes on social media right now running the 4-4.
Man,
for real.
Man, T.O. is a dog, man. And the crazy part about it is, man, I was blessed when I was doing my football camp in Columbus. I used to bring athletes down. And so I knew T was living in the A, so I hit him up. I was like, look, bro. I was like, I know you busy, man, but if you can come down. Bro, he came down, man. He came down, and for that time, man, kids was, T.O. everything.
Right.
He came down, bro, and just showed so much love to the kids and teaching them about life. And that's a side that I really hate that people didn't see in the media about him. Oh, wow. My bad, dude. I'm sitting over here watching my nephew. He playing on ESPN2.
Who? Colt?
Caleb Hood. Played for Georgia Southern, man. He just caught like a bomb.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I know, right?
Let's go. Transfer portal, my boy.
But
go
man.
get him.
Hey, man. T.O. was a monster, though, bro. For real.
So, Hood, let me ask you this. When I see A.J. Brown from the Eagles, I see a lot of T.O., like the body size, the way they play. So for somebody who played against T.O. every day in practice, right?
Yeah.
And somebody who's watching A.J. Brown, what are the similarities and what are the differences?
I think the similarities is, like you said, first size.
Right.
Power. It's a business decision, man, when you're tackling A.J. Brown, just like it was when you was tackling T.O. Right. Like, those guys, man, was not easy tackles.
Right.
They attack the ball. T.O., some people say, T.O. dropped the ball sometimes, but, man, he caught a whole lot more than he would drop. And he attacked the ball. And then, two, I guess T.O. was – and I might be, partial because I see him in practice, man. T.O. was faster than most receivers. Like, people didn't ever get that side of him. But, bro, on that field, he would outrun the best DB. You know what I'm saying? And he was physical with it. So it was just like – and I see a little bit of the A.J. Brown. I don't think A.J. Brown is as fast as T.O. is, you know what I'm saying, on the field.
Right.
But I see a lot of similarities in him, man. And that's one of the reasons why the Eagles, man, floating right now, bro.
Man. So when we talk about the Eagles, right? So I talked to Brandon Jacobs the other day, right?
Yeah.
I talked to him on the pod, actually.
Okay.
And he said, he's a Giants guy.
Yeah, I already know. We had the battle.
He said that the Giants versus the Eagles is the biggest rivalry ever. Like, he said, bigger than the Giants Cowboys, bigger than the Giants Redskins. He said the Giants Eagles was the biggest rivalry. What is the craziest thing you've seen as a member of the Eagles versus the Giants?
I guess against the Giants, man, we had so many because when I was with the Eagles, man, we was rolling. Like, we was winning. We were like 3 straight years in a row in the NFC Championship. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we used to have to go. We have to go against the Giants and Tiki Barber and Plexico and all those guys. So it was some battles, man. I think that, I think one of the biggest ones when we played down at Met. It was called MetLife at the time.
Right.
And B. Westwood had punted to B. Westwood. This is before he started really playing running back. This was like my freshman year. Right. I mean, my rookie year. I'm sorry, my rookie year.
Right.
And I was just playing special teams at the time. I was playing a little dime back, but I was playing mostly special teams. And man, this before I started returning punts in the league and kicks. And man, they punted to B. Westbrook. Man, he took it to the crib, to the house to win the game, like a walk-off.
Ooh.
Yeah, bro. Just ran into the locker room, bro. Game over. You know what I mean? And so, but that's, man, I remember, even Brandon Jacobs playing against him, bro. Like, because when he came to Auburn, we was close. And, to be honest, I introduced Brandon to Kim.
Ooh. Kim Lampy.
Yes, bro. Man, Kim was super cool. Like, we was the best of friends.
Right.
And when BJ came, he had asked me about her, and I was just like, man, yeah, that's my home girl. Like, we don't talk, like, that's my girl. Like, we cool, good people. And I introduced them to them, man, and it was just like, dog, once they met each other, it was like, you could just see the chemistry. Over with, bro. Like, it was just,
I look, Hood, what's crazy? I remember that.
Yeah.
Hood. No, it's crazy. I do remember that because at the end of the day, like, y'all was tight, but it was never no crazy energy. It was always just like, bro, Kim was one of the guys.
Man, let me tell you how me and Kim linked up, man. Me and Kim linked up, bro. It's so funny. I was standing across the street from her.
Right.
And, bro, some bats got in my apartment, dude. Bro, I come in, man, one day, open the apartment, and, man, bats flying all through the apartment. They got through the chimney. And so I'm like, man, I ain't even going back in there. I don't want nothing. Like, they have my clothes, everything.
Right.
And she was down there, and she seen me. She's like, well, where you going? I'm like, man, I ain't going back in there. I'm fine somewhere. She was like, well, she was like, well, shoot, you come over to the house, cause I used to go over there anyway, because we be out there cooking out and stuff like that. So I went over there, man. Dude, I stayed on her couch for like a semester.
Wow.
Like, that's how cool me and Kim was, bro. Like, I stayed on her couch for a semester. We used to drop each other off, because you couldn't drive on campus like that. So we should drop each other off to class.
The Honda.
Yeah.
The black Honda.
Bro, you remember, bro? Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Man, me and Kim, we was cool, man. But it was funny though, because when Brandon came to the league, that was like, I think, my first or second year in the league, and he had went to the Giants. And so Kim was like, yeah, Rod, I'm in New York, da da da. And so every time they would come to the game, they would ask me for the tickets so they can get closer, because they put them way up there to the top of the stadium.
Right.
So I used to get them tickets, get to the game and stuff, where our family section was. But it was cool, man, playing against Brandon, man. I was just like, man, y'all keep that big boy inside. I'm not trying to tackle him.
Let me ask you this. What was your welcome to the league moment? Like, when you got to the league and you was like, hey, bro, this is different. Like, I done played against some of the best guys in the SEC. Like,
yeah.
I'm in the league now. What made you know that you were in the NFL?
Bro, what made me know I was in the NFL, man, we was playing down in New Orleans.
Okay.
And
Eagles versus the Saints.
Versus Saint, dog. Drew Brees. And so I'm in no, this wasn't Drew Brees. Who was the quarterback at the time? No, I think it was Drew.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, it was my rookie year. And dude, I was playing corner at the time. And Troy Benson was hurt, and I was playing corner, and they called screen. Right? So they ran a screen play, and everybody like, screen. And so, bro, I'm on a block, receiver blocking me, and I'm trying to get off of him. And man, I see everybody just running towards me, like these offensive linemen, defensive linemen, 300-pound guys running, man, 4'7", 4'8", flying to me. And I'm like, dog, I'm trying to hold the block, trying to turn the ball back in. And bro, I just get just trampled, bro. And so one of the older vets was like, hey, young guy. He was like, bro, you ain't gonna last like that, bro. He said, you better get out the way. he was like, man, you know what he's like, no, you finna get killed. But bro, my job was to turn the ball back in, get him back to turn the ball back
to the inside.
Bro, let me tell you like this, man. Because in college, man, they run to the football, but in the pros, bro, like, it's a different type of run to the football, man. Them boys, first of all, man, they bigger, they faster.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was just like, you come from the SEC, you see different type of speed. But bro, in that league, man,
it's different.
Dude, it's different, dude. It's different. And I guess that was the one reason I was just like, wow. I mean, I see a lot of things. Like, I went against Randy Moss, man. It was just like, man, this guy too big, too tall, too fast to be that size.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, right.
So you got to think, like, I know you saw Tim Carter.
Yeah.
And folks be tripping, and folks don't really want to put respect on Tim's name.
Yeah.
But Tim Carter was a legit sub 4.3 guy.
Yeah. I tell people this all the time. Tim Carter had the fastest split and go release ever. I have ever seen. Ever.
Even in the league.
I'm gonna tell you, only person ever came close to him, and he wasn't a fast guy, but his name was I just call him what was his name? He played with me in St. Louis.
Okay.
But other than that, man, Tim Carter, bro, his split release, man. Bro, I haven't seen nobody like that since, bro.
And Tim was so cool, dog.
Man, Tim, cool cat, bro.
I never met nobody cool. Like,
Blazer.
You know what? You and Tim was like the same person almost. Like, as far as being that cool. Like, blessed up, boy. Like, you had one on offense, one on defense. Like, Tim was so fast, and then Hood was like, like, you was fast too. Like when I thought, like, I heard so much about you being fast, bro, that it was like, hey man, Hood fast as hell. I'm like, bro, I was asking what Jordans he had on. I might be like, hey, what kind of shoes he had on? They be like, hey,
Yeah, we
hey,
wear them J's, dude.
hey man, hood be fat, bro. Like, man,
Yeah.
what? Like for real, man. Like, hey, what hood from? Shit, he fast. Like, what? Like, they got not doing nothing. But nah, man. Nah, for real, man. Like, all right, last thing. I gotta ask you this, Hood. Like, for sure.
You good, bro?
Like, all right. So when it comes down to Columbus, and a lot of folks feel like Columbus is out, like I say, I'll say that Columbus is kind of like in Atlanta's shadow when it comes to exposure. But when you go look at the numbers, and I'm from the A, like there are so many people in Columbus, and not even just Columbus, like the Fort Valley area, like the whole way around. If you go in that area, it's really similar to Atlanta. What is the reason do you think that sometimes people in Columbus are slept on?
Man, when you talking about from an athletic standpoint, or
absolutely,
yeah, you know what, man, I think that just because the size, you know, when you say the age, man, everybody's like, you know, it rings a bell. Even guys when they go off and they not true to themselves, they be from Columbus. Then when they get to the big, you know, nobody don't know Columbus like that. Everybody say Columbus, Ohio. So then everybody, well, I'm just from the A. Everybody just say I'm just from Atlanta.
Right.
You know, just to make people understand where they at on the globe.
Right.
So I think that's why Columbus don't hit the way it should hit a lot of times, because people like, look, when you say Columbus, they think about Columbus, Ohio. They ain't really thinking about Columbus, Georgia, unless you're from, you know, Georgia.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's some of the best athletes I ever seen, man, from Georgia, man. Like from that Columbus area. Like I tell people all the time, like I played with a lot of great backs. Cadillac, Ronnie Brown, like Westbrook, Buck Halter.
Jap.
I mean, dog. And I tell people, like, at the end of the day, man, Jap is one of the better running backs I ever seen. You know what I'm saying?
We talking about Jasper Saints.
Yes, Jasper Saints, bro. Like, it was just, I mean, to see some of the things, and then basketball-wise, he was like one of them 2 basketball players in the country. It was like crazy. You know, he just was a monster. So he was from Columbus, man. So
Hood.
You know,
I forgot. Hold on, Hood. I forgot something. We can talk now.
Yeah.
Hood, you always come in the act, and you had a crazy handle. And I was the point guard in the act, and I ain't like that. Excuse my language. I ain't like it. I was the act point guard.
I remember, bro.
And used to come in there with this crazy handle, like, bro, like you would come in there and throw the ball behind your back 19 times in a row, and then walk out.
I used to be in that running, man. Like for real, dog. Like that's how we got that cardio in.
Yeah, I used to be so mad when you came, bro, because they'd be like, I'll take Hood. I'd be like, bro, we've been playing for the last 2 weeks. Now you want to take Hood for real? But like, look, let me ask you this: like, you're you're a real life hooper, Hood. So when you saw T.O. and I done been out there and locked on you at the house, at the full court. So I've been there, right?
Okay,
I done seen them games, right? I ain't even check in them games.
Yeah.
No, because T.O. used to be really serious about basketball.
Man.
When you and T.O. hooked up, because I know you can hoop, bro.
Yeah.
What happened?
Dog, it's crazy. We bro, in Philadelphia, you remember like the N1 tour, right?
Yeah, like hot sauce. Hot sauce.
So check this out. They had Skip to Malou, like all them guys, right? Them boys, most of them boys from Philly, New York.
Right.
So Brian Westbrook threw a basketball tournament one time.
Okay.
Right? And had N1 guys there. And so we played against, you know, it was like a tournament.
Okay.
And so T.O. was like, man, Hood, I'm hooping, man. I'm hooping. I'm like, dog, I'm hooping too. Like, whatever. Let's go. Let's get it. I love the hoop, right?
Right.
So it's me, him, and we had this guy named Norman June, dog. He's from Louisiana, man. And dog, we held our own, bro. But like you say, T.O., man, he was serious, bro. Like T.O. go there more dunking, going to the lane, going to the rack.
Right.
He was like, man, and we used to play in a lot of like charity basketball games. But yeah, man, I love basketball. You know, that just love
like
basketball.
Hood, them folks don't know you can really hoop, Hood. Like I'm telling you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like for somebody who used to do a little bit with the basketball, I was like, oh no, bro, different. Like he could really, like Hood, you could have played college ball, bro. Like for sure.
Yeah, man. I love the dog. I just, you get that stereotype, man. When you get there, it's like, oh man, you ain't but 5'10", man. You can't. And I had walked on in college, and to be honest, man, I really wanted to go out there on the thing, but the coach was like, the next year he was like, look, man, you got a chance to play. We're gonna give you a scholarship. Hey, but you got to be about ball. You got to be about football.
Right.
And so it was just like, hey.
Nah, but look,
I gotta eat.
I'm telling y'all this right now. Anybody who sees this, man, Hood had that ball on a yo-yo string, bro.
Man, I do a little bit with
it. I seen it, bro. Like,
Yo,
hey, listen, and I can, and I can dribble a little bit. Like, Hood can dribble for sure. Like, nah, for real.
Used to,
man.
bro. Used to, not no more, man. Hey, look, I got my nephews, man. They be out there trying to take me out back, man, trying to kill me out there.
Hold on. Let's talk about the nephews.
Yeah.
Like, all right. So you got two nephews right now, Eagles Landing Christian.
Yeah.
Colton Hood and Brandon Hood.
And I got a son too.
What?
Yeah, I got a son, man. Colton and Brandon, them, they have they have rightfully stole the show. Because my son didn't play last year, but man, he this year here, dog, he played linebacker. He a bad boy, dude.
What year is he?
He a junior this year, but he didn't play. He didn't play a lot last year.
He a 24.
Huh?
He a 24 kid.
Yeah, 24 kid. Yep.
What's his name?
Yep. Trenton Hood.
Trenton Hood. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting it first here. So you got to think. Now Auburn is recruiting Colton. Colton has an offer, correct?
Yep. Colton got an offer.
I know for a fact Cadillac is looking at Brandon.
Yeah.
And now we got Trenton.
Yeah.
And that's your son.
Yeah, that's my son.
Wow. What's the best part of his game?
Man, you know what? The best part of his game is that he's not like his dad. Like, he's not, like, it's crazy, man. Like, he's the kid that he's built different. Like, he's probably 5'10", but dog, he's like 210 pounds.
Right.
Plays linebacker, plays fullback, running back, right?
Right.
And he is a starting running back now since Brandon's hurt. Right. You know what I'm saying? But dude, he's coming in his own, man. Like I mean, and that's why I tell people, man, because I'm big on, like, I don't brag about it and stuff like that. You wouldn't even know Colton, my nephew. Like, I just my thing is, like, I like his play to speak for itself. Right. But we got the playoffs tomorrow. Last week he rushed for like 21. He had he had 14 carries for 120 yards. So, he's kind of fitting that role since Brandon has went down as our star running back. But no, man, it's to come, dude. It's to come.
Hey, man, listen, let me tell you something. Like, them Hoods, dog, like, it's funny because it's like, like, the name is Hood, but everything about, like, on the football field, it feels Hood. But outside the football field, it feels like it's everything but Hood. It's really like black excellence. And
appreciate it, bro.
What I'll say is, like, I give you your flowers while we're here, because at the end of the day, like, you got guys who, like, go to the league. You got guys from Columbus and grow hard. You know what I'm saying? And they gonna let you know that every time they get a chance. You know what I mean? But you were always the person that was like, you know what, man, I don't care where I came. I don't care that I was a walk-on. I don't care that I'm from the hood in Columbus. I don't care about none of that. What I care about is who I am today.
That's right.
And I really appreciate that. And you've never forgot where you came from. And I think that's important too. So, like, man, Hood, if I can't do nothing else for you, bro, like, Roger Hood, my partner, bro, man, thank you, bro. Sure.
Hey, same here, man. It's a joy, man. I appreciate, just the opportunity to be able to want to speak to me, bro. That's real talk.